What is up, guys? It is now October. It is Q4 2023. So in this video, I want to dive in and do a monthly update on the candle closes and what the charts potentially reveal to us for the next month ahead, but potentially also for the rest of the year. So grab yourself your favorite beverage. Let's dive straight in. By the way, for the next couple of days only, if you haven't joined my VIP yet, there's a special offer running. Click the link in the description down below. There's a 50% discount on the trading course, and I also offer various other packages. So if you want to join my VIP for the best price, then until the timer on the page hits 0, you have the chance to get in to do that. And as always, there's a full 60-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk, only upside. Come and join us, come and hang out with us in Discord. The link is in the description down below. Alright, so let's start out by looking at the monthly returns over here. And September actually closed green, which is really interesting. So we didn't have a red September like it tended to be. You can see the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the last 6 years in a row before this year were all red in September. So now we got a marginally green September, which is really, really nice to see. And if you actually go back to September here, you can see the last time September was green, that was in 2016, and it was followed by 3 consecutive green months after that. Then we had September green in 2015, also 3 consecutive green months followed that, October, November, December. And that is literally it. You can see for the rest September was red. So we have a green September. Are we going to get a green October or an Uptober, as people are talking about? Are we going to get a green October, November, and December? Maybe it's possible, guys. Maybe it's possible. But there is a criteria I'm looking for first for bullish confirmation, and I'm going to share that with you in the charts today. All right, so we have Bitcoin here trading at almost $28,000, which is nice to see. Let me play back what I said at the start of September, and then we can look at the charts from here. If this does indeed drop back below it, and it has, it's ever so slightly, so it's a little bit in a gray, tricky zone. It could bounce back up here. That would be very, very nice if we get that. Okay, so there isn't too much to say about that. Last month it looked like it was tricky. September was historically a shakeout month. It could have gone either way, and we fortunately did not crash in September. Actually, if you look here, this is the monthly chart with the 50 simple moving average, and you can see this is important because it held the support in the 2018 bear market lows and the 2020 crash, and while we broke back below it, we got above it over here at the beginning of the year. We dropped back to it, and instead of breaking down last month anyways, we managed to get a green month here, close ever so slightly above, and so far, we've only just started October, but we're already seeing a bit of a green month. So is it possible that the 50 MA on the monthly held as support, that September was the lows, and from here we're going up, as potentially the historic returns have suggested? When we get a green September, that October, November, and December are all green? Is that possible? That would be very, very nice now, wouldn't it? But we are not in the clear just yet. So this 50 MA is going to be key. We want to hold it, of course, and we want to close above it again this month, ideally. Now, let's zoom into the weekly chart over here to get a bit of a better picture. And you can see we had this drop here below. This is the 200-week moving average in red, by the way, the 50 in blue. And you can see, as long as we're above the 50-week moving average, that is still bullish technically, okay? That is bullish territory. If we lose that, we flip to bearish, because then most likely we continue lower. But we're still holding that, so as long as we stay above, at this point in time, 24,800 with a weekly close, like it can wick below there, as long as we don't close below there, then technically it's still bullish. Now, if we reclaim this 200-week moving average, which you can see we're sitting right up against it, we need to reclaim that with a weekly close back above. So if we get it back above 28,000 with a weekly close, in my opinion, that becomes a lot more bullish, and that is kind of the confirmation that I'm looking for us to be able to have a higher probability of continuation to the upside. Now, also a very important thing is the 3-day chart. 3-day 50 moving average over here in blue, okay? So every candle represents 3 days. And you can see here, when we go back, just look at where we crossed that, okay? If we get above the 3-day 50 moving average, the entire bull market was above it. Over here in 2019, this entire move up was above the 50. Okay, you can go and check this on the chart. over here, even in 2021, once we got back above it in August, that entire move over here from 44,000 to almost 70,000 was above it, right? So we broke above here in the beginning of the year in January, and we had this entire move up from about 18,000 to 31,000. Now this is the key, okay? We dropped below it, but we are literally just poking up above it, okay? The rule to reclaiming this for confirmation for me is 2 consecutive closes above, all right? So that means if we get 2 consecutive 3-day closes, which is another 6 days or so, so not even the entire week, but obviously getting the weekly close at the end of this week above 28K. If we can sustain above there too with 3-day consecutive closes, that's basically our confirmation, and then the chances greatly increase that this whole drop over the last several weeks was basically just a bear trap, right? Thinking that we were going to break down. Once we reclaim that, we get that confirmation I just said, it becomes much more likely that we see more upside follow through, and then that the next targets indeed become 32,000, maybe 35,000, and maybe even all the way back up to this high at 48,000. And remember, there is still a possibility that with the halving coming in April next year, that we do actually seem to kind of front run it, so that things happen sooner than most people expect, where most people are still expecting the 4-year cycle to play out, meaning that we only see the all-time high by the end of 2024 and a bull market in 2025. Now, I did share over this year that there is that possibility that we might front run that 4-year cycle, mainly due to the fact that the interest rates have gone up so much, and that if you look back historically, in the year 2000 when we had that crash, and the year 2008 when we had the global financial market crash, that came after they cut rates, after a major hiking cycle. So there is an expectation now that the first rate cut will only come sometime at the end of 2024. Then you need to think about that. If that first rate cut is going to come somewhere in Q3 or Q4 next year, and the same cycle plays out of 2000, 2008 with the crash following that rate cut within a matter of weeks, then there's not going to be time for a bull market in 2025, which means that if we front run this now, potentially even, starting here October, November, December, maybe running up into the halving and peaking right towards the end of next year, that would be front running the entire cycle. It would be what most people don't expect, and it would be pretty interesting. Now, we still don't know. We have to take it a week at a time, a month at a time. Let's reclaim this first with the confirmation that I just said here in the video. If we get that, then it becomes more likely that we see upside continuation, and maybe keep this front run scenario in mind in case it does end up playing out. Alright, so let's have a quick look at Ethereum over here, $1,727. What's interesting to note here, the 50 moving average on monthly, and you can see it's holding pretty much as support. So while it did look a little bit scary, September ended up holding. Again, you can see here how much this is holding up support. If this holds still this month, if we get a bounce back up, we can continue the trend higher. That would be pretty interesting to see. Of course, the danger zone becomes if we break back below it, which at this point is about, you can see here, about $1,570. If we break back below that, especially if we get a monthly close back below that, then the bullish scenario gets in question, in my opinion, and we might have to consider a more bearish scenario and potentially a retest of the lows. As long as this is holding though, it does look good for the bulls. So let's see what this month is going to bring us. You can also see here on the weekly chart on Ethereum, both the 50 and the 200 week moving averages here are basically at the same level. We kind of dipped back below it a little bit, but now we got that nice weekly candle. You can see if I zoom in here, that is a nice weekly bullish engulfing candle above both the moving averages that it closed. So this looks bullish at this point, in my opinion, and it looks like we could see some nice upside continuation here for the week and hopefully for the month. So I would say here at this point, as long as it stays above these lows, above 1,530 or so, there's hope for the bulls. And if we see follow through here to the upside, especially if we can get back above, say, this high above 2,000, then things start to get very interesting. Now, of course, the one key thing to watch for the macro direction, which I've shared here many times on the channel, is of course the dollar index. So the dollar index has gone on an insane run. You can see here all these green candles which by the way looks very organic, right? Like that's completely natural price action. But obviously I'm being sarcastic here. Like you don't see that. Look at how many green candles in a row. Go back on the charts. Like where do you see that? It just doesn't happen, right? So it looks like here to me anyways, this US dollar is somehow coordinated, manipulated into strength. And keep in mind it's against the other currencies, so it doesn't necessarily mean in isolation that the US dollar is getting stronger. It's just getting stronger in relation to the basket of other currencies that are basically losing value faster than the US dollar. Okay, so far you can see over here what it's been doing. It's taken out these highs over here, right? So all these highs are taken out over there. And so far we still have this high over there, which potentially it could take out. This fair value gap here, this inefficiency you can see over here where it dropped through the Fibonacci golden pocket, a retest of this diagonal trend line. So there could still be some upside here, of course. And if it does that, if it continues going higher, then it's likely that there's selling pressure on risk assets, which means stocks could potentially still go lower in the next month or two. And typically that would mean also for crypto, but lately crypto has been so kind of uncorrelated from the stock markets. We saw stock markets go up in a major way and crypto didn't really go up. So maybe if the stock markets go down, maybe crypto doesn't drop as much. We'll have to wait and see. But just keep it in mind, if the dollar index continues higher here for a few more weeks, then it's likely to put selling pressure on the risk assets, on gold, on US dollar pairs, which, by the way, I'll show you now in a second. Euro US dollar also just made a death cross, which it hasn't done too often. So switching over to the Euro US dollar, you can see here 50 MA in blue, 200 in red, and you can see the arrows here. Okay, so this was back in 2018. It made this death cross, and from there you can see it continued lower for many, many months. The same thing happened here in August of 2021, made this death cross, and look how much the Euro US dollar dropped. And now we have a similar situation. Now it's not a guaranteed thing that this does lead to this, but you can see here the previous two times that it's done that in the last 6 years, it's led to a lot more downside. So what I see here for the Euro US dollar, if we put a Fib golden pocket on here, Fibonacci retracement, you can also see a similar thing over here with kind of an inefficiency here that hasn't been tested. You can see these lows have been taken already, but there's still this low, there's still these lows. So it is completely possible that we target around about this level first, right? Let's say it does something like this and then continues back higher. That is completely a possibility. That would also kind of line up with the inverse of the dollar index, which I just showed you, that if we see that go higher, then this probably goes lower. Then we probably see risk assets also go lower, which we've been seeing. Gold has dropped the last couple of weeks. Stock markets have seen a bit of selling off. So as long as the dollar index continues higher, likely to see pressure on the risk assets. And that's why I say also with Bitcoin specifically, while things look good so far, we still need to get that confirmation of getting those 2 consecutive 3-day closes above that 28K level and reclaiming that 3-day 50 MA and the 200-week moving average. If we get that confirmation, then it becomes a lot more likely. Things are looking good, but we still don't have the confirmation, so it could still turn around from here before actually giving us that confirmation. Hopefully though, we are going to see that same track record play out. If we get a green September, that, you know, the next months are also green. That would be the ideal case. I do hope we get that, but let's wait for that confirmation first before getting bullish. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Are we going to get an Uptober? Are we going to get a green Q4 with more upside? Or do you think it's a fake out and a scam and we are going to dump straight back down and get some sort of black swan? I would love to hear your thoughts. Smash the like button if you enjoyed this video. And if you are not yet part of my VIP membership in the Discord, I share my charts, ideas, trade setups every single day. I answer questions. You get direct access to me. So I'm running a special offer still for a couple days only. Link is in the description down below. Come and join us. It's completely risk-free. There's 60-day unconditional money-back guarantee. So you can sign up, you can go through everything, join us in Discord. If you're not happy, you can get a full refund. But if you want the special offer, the discounted pricing, you need to sign up before the timer on the page hits 0. Link is in the description down below.